Maisha is existing because of people like you. Today in this room, I just want to say a huge thank you on behalf of Feed My Starving Children for the partnership that God has brought for us to embody together to save the world one child at a time. But guess what? None of that can happen without people like you who are sitting right here in this room. I get so much of a privilege to be in the field most of the time to see what God is doing firsthand compared to majority of you that make our work very possible through the support of what is being done to this organization called Feed My Starving Children that enabled us to literally empower people to transform their own communities. We are new partner programs to Feed My Starving Children since about 3 years ago. We became new partners in 2020, the year of COVID. And before we knew Feed My Starving Children, we were doing feeding program in a very small scale. And Maisha, truly just as you've seen it in that video, was founded because of food. I came to America 2 decades ago as an intern, exchange student, to come and work with the inner city kids here in Oklahoma City. And when I grew up in my small village, I grew up where we didn't have running water, we did not have electricity, and as a young girl, education was far rich than ever. Because education, especially for girls in some communities, is not a priority. They will value for a family to send a boy to school and not a girl. And so at the age of 9 years old, I'd never gone to school. Not because my parents did not want to take me to school, but because they were not having enough to afford to take us to school to receive that education. Both my parents had jobs. My father was a very hardworking guy before he passed away a couple of years ago of malaria. And he could work hard, just like when he showed that photo of that watermelon.
Yes.
He could work hard. He was a very hardworking guy. But yet, his income was still less than $1 a day. $1 a day cannot raise a family. It cannot. Especially in communities in Africa where economy is more harsh than it even is before. But the people living under poverty, the economy become more harder for them. So when I was growing up, God blessed me with an opportunity for education by a missionary from Sweden giving me that chance to sponsor my schooling from 9 years old to 2 years of college. And this came with God's act of kindness. You know, there's a group of students that came from Sweden to my village for mission work. I was a young kid. They were hosting a VBS in my community. And I was one of the young girls that was attending this VBS. My father and my mom, young couples, they were volunteers in this VBS that was happening during summer. And during this mission trip, one of the team members of this group of students that came from Sweden, Michael, lost his travel wallet. And this travel wallet had 3 passports in it. He was carrying his passport and other 2, maybe team members. I don't know how he ended up with 3 passports in his wallet. And there are also some money that was in there because he was one of the team members, so he had money to accommodation, the things that they were going to do, activities. So they were in my village at this time, pre-planning for the VBS that was supposed to happen that week. They're building tents, you know, getting everything ready. Michael had put his wallet on the grass and he forgot with it there. And as a young girl, I picked this wallet. And to be completely honest with you, I did not know what this is. So I looked at inside of it, there's money. I did not know it was money, it was Swedish money. They had not went to foreign exchange to change it. And also there's passport. And I'm looking at this small booklet that looks cute. I'm playing with it. And I'm looking at the pages. And this is just so cute books, you know. And I don't know the value of what is in my hands. But as I kept on looking at the pages of this small booklet, I see the photos on it. And then I see the photo of these young people. So something told me that whatever is in my hand is important, because I could relate to a photo and these people are new. You know, I don't know how many people have gone for mission trip here, and every country they have different names they call white people. So in Kenya, we call white people Mzungu. It's just a Kiswahili name for Caucasian, right? And so I'm seeing the name, I'm seeing the photo of Mzungu. And I'm like, got afraid, because they all looked alike. They really did. They all looked alike. And this time I was more scared than ever. I didn't want to be in trouble. So I put all these things together. I hid the wallet and I ran to my father and gave my father the wallet. He was the only person I trusted in this group with this wallet. My fear as a kid, I knew it was an important tool in my hands, but then I did not want to be in trouble of losing it. So I went and gave it to my dad. My dad was still helping around the camp, and he put it around his neck, you know, those travel pouches that you can put around your neck. And he forgot that he still had it because he had not given it to Michael. And we ended up with this wallet in our small little mud house. And these students went to their guest rooms, and then they're realizing that they don't have the wallet, the passports are missing and things like that. They panicked. They came back to the camp because Michael knew exactly where he had put it. It was not there. They don't know what to do. It's night, it's very pitch dark, there's no electricity in the community. And there, it was the most horror night for these 3 students in Kenya from Sweden that they could have ever desired to have. They called Sweden, they already called back how they lost the money and the passports are missing. 3 of them are illegal in Kenya at this time. And then the next day, unfortunately, they were coming to say that the camp might not continue because most of the money was missing. Almost $8,000 in the value of $8,000 was in this wallet. So the next day we come back. My father came back as early as he could, because even he was panicking at the house with this wallet, and gave it back. And immediately, I tell you guys, I felt like I became the celebrity of the camp. Immediately. Not in a bad way, but it felt like God directly shone his light directly at me. Because at this time, people in Sweden already knew who Beatrice is. Imagine that. But the most important thing that truly happened because of this act, 3 months later, Anna Lanson, that you seen on the picture, in the video, that was Michael's grandmother that mostly sponsored this trip, took a trip from Sweden to come meet me in my village and said thank you to what happened. Anna Lanson took a trip with her twin sister from Sweden to Kenya to meet me, just a mere young little 9 years old, to come meet me and say thank you to what happened. When Anna Lanson and her sister was in our little mud house, they asked my parents, what can we do to help? Literally, the house we were living in, maybe, if it was big, it was maybe 10 by 16 square foot, small little shack house. Anna Lanson asked my parents, what can I do to help? I can always remember like it was yesterday. That's why even almost 30 years later, it still shocks me. My mother and my father looks across the table and tell Anna, if you want to help me take this little girl to school. She would like to go to school. We can't afford to take her to school. This time of my life, what was hindering my parents even to afford to take me to school was simple things like lunch meal in school, school uniform, school supplies, and the tuition of $5. In total, what my parents needed really for me to attend school and my sister was maybe $36 a term. A term, that's the semester. They couldn't afford that. Remember, he's hardworking and his income is less than $1 a day. Anna Lanson promised my parents that as long as I am alive, I will make sure that Beatrice go to school. And surely, she kept her word. As long as she was alive, I got the opportunity to go to one of the good missionary schools in Kenya and received my education. When she passed away, that opportunity stopped. And it taught me, at this time, I was almost in 2 years of college in Kenya, that this lady was single-handedly helping me to go to school. I don't know what she was giving up to provide for my education. But what I knew that God used Anna Lanson through the act of what accidentally happened to his grandchild in Kenya to support me. That's why I was saying that it felt that God shone his light directly at me during that incident. Fast forward, I dropped out of college in Kenya. I was at Daystar University because now we couldn't afford it. And I started to volunteer in my church. And luckily enough, that is the year when my church here in Oklahoma City and my church in Kenya had an exchange program. And I was one of the college and career students that got the opportunity to come to Oklahoma City for exchange internship program that was supposed to last for 1 year. I came to America, and surely, how much more can you ever ask for? I got in this place and immediately got a culture shock. And one of my biggest culture shock in this country was food. It was abundance. I never understood what the meaning of a buffet is. They pick us, it was 5 of us coming from Kenya for exchange program. They pick us from the airport, and the youth pastor, we come from the airport, and he goes, "Are you guys hungry?" And we say, "Yes, because we're really hungry. There was too much food in the plane. Let's start from there, coming over." So we go to a Chinese restaurant, but it's a buffet. And Pastor Josh says that here you pay one time, and you eat as many times as you want. We are 5 Africans that have been starving. We actually plan to eat. You plan your day to eat. You just don't eat. You plan to eat. And here you're being told you pay one time and you eat as many places as you want. One of the guys that was with us was called Nelson. Nelson ate his life away from this thing. He was sick before he got from our family hosts. But I'm telling you guys the concept of this story, because coming to America, you know, when you go to mission trips, you have culture shock when you go to those countries. When we came here, one of my biggest culture shock was how much food was accessible to us and how much waste we also wasted this same food. I was having a hard time eating. When I came here, it took me 3 to 4 months just to adapt with food because it was so much and it was also wasteful of the abundance. And I wondered how we have so much, yet we were still not happy. I was working with the youth that have so much blessing around them, yet they were the most unhappiest young youth around, and young adults around, and young families around. And those were my culture shock when I came here. I'm like, why? How? We have everything here. I would just want to put everything in the plane and take them back there, because over there we have barely nothing. Yet you find the most joyful people in the whole entire world. Those were culture shock for me. So it was during this time when I'm struggling with food, and we got set up, and the church where I was doing internship started to provide us with weekly stipends for pocket money to live. And we work, we have stipend, the church provided for us of our accommodation and everything. So my stipend, guess where it went? Who can guess? Anybody can give a guess?
Back home.
It went back.
Went back. Who said that? You're so awesome. Yeah. Every Friday we get our stipend, my $175 stipend, weekly stipend for spending money. Half of that I sent to my mother. The same day I got it, the same day it went to my mother back in Kenya. Because I knew my own siblings, I knew my own parents are going to bed without food. I knew that. And I was here in abundance. I was saying earlier to the team members as Feed My Starving Children when we were meeting today, that what shocked me the most is like, when we go do grocery shopping, it's like work, right? Here. You go do grocery shopping, you come back, you put food in the fridge, we are tired. We are going to eat out. The food is being put in the fridge, but yet we are going to eat out. I'm like, why did we just buy all this food? First of all, the fridge was still full with food. We still go and buy some, but we are not cooking it. Me and my family parents, we are going out to eat. I'm like, why? What is that concept going on? So I struggle with food. So when I sent my mother this small money that I had accessible to me, my mother was doing something with it. I was sending it for them, for my siblings to eat and for them to eat. But she was sharing food every Saturday. She could buy extra rice and beans for a few kids. The kids you see in the very inception of that video, that is behind her backyard, like literally behind our mud house. They could sit down on the dirt floor and eat rice and beans. My mother was cooking for them. And so one time my mother wakes up in the morning and finds 63 children in front of her house waiting to be fed, because they have heard that here you can eat.
Yeah.
Good problem. My mother calls me, because they could go 2 hours away and go to a phone booth and call me. She was furious at me. She got mad at me. She like, stop sending for me money. You are giving me problems in the village here. Stop. I don't want it. We are okay. Before you went to America, we were okay. Stop sending for me money. I got offended because I'm like, but I didn't know what she was doing with the money. I was sending you money to eat. People are coming in my compound. They don't want to leave. They think I have money in the house. Don't want to give them food. So they just want food. I don't have it. Stop sending for me money. And that's when, at the church where I was working, we started to engage the youth to help do some small fundraising so that we can consistently make sure that every Saturday they have rice and beans to eat. Through that humble beginning of feeding kids under my mom's tree, we cooked outside with firewood. When it rains, we can't cook. Sometimes we had food, but we can't cook because we are cooking outside under a tree. When it's too windy, you can't cook. When the riverbed is dry, they have to go to the river to fetch water and come back. They can't cook. Sometimes you have food, but you can't cook it. But it was through that humble beginning of food that the transformational of what is happening at Maisha Project is happening today. And so for many years, we started to look for people to help us feed a child through small fundraisings in Oklahoma City. And before we met Feed My Starving Children 3 years ago, we were feeding close to 500 meals, 600 meals a day in our school at Maisha Project Academy. But when we partnered with Feed My Starving Children, we are feeding more than 2,000 meals daily. Wow. That is a guaranteed food that children, orphans, widows, the sick know that they can get. It's guaranteed. But that is only made possible because of your faithfulness to this ministry. Whether you are donating dollars to FMSC, you're playing a huge impact in the lives of so many children that perhaps you will never meet. But I'm here as a testimony to tell you that you are impacting the world, one child at a time. To us at Maisha, Manapak is not just a Manapak. They call Manapak Gold. They have named Manapak Gold because it is so rare for a community like Maisha to have food in a consistent manner. And in our community, especially at Maisha Academy, Manapak is hope to our children. It is health, because the transformational health initiatives we are seeing it do to our children, to the hospitals that we serve, to the orphanages that we serve, especially keeping kids in school to receive education, to the schools that we make sure that they have food so that kids can have that one meal a day. Manapak is more than just food for us. It is life. But it is people like you that make it possible for us to keep knocking at the door of Feed My Starving Children and say, can we have one more container? Because I'm afraid that we have been one of that organization that says, can we have more? But believe me, guys, you are very important to the puzzle of what is happening in the kingdom of God. If you're a volunteer, you are more than a puzzle. If you're a donor, you are more than a puzzle. It's not just about that check you're writing. I'm sorry to tell you that it's not just about that. It's more than that. It's priceless. It's not just about that check you're writing. Jean, it's more than that check. You're saving lives. You're saving that next kid that might have died because they did not eat. I don't know if any of you have ever witnessed somebody so hungry and they died because of hunger. They did not die because they are sick. I have stories like that. We can show you videos and videos after videos. We will be here for days. Selena in Turkana is a woman, perhaps my age mate. I just turned 47 years old this year. Selena is my age mate and look like she is perhaps 60 or 70 years old. She's my age mate. But this lady has lived hard life because of hunger. We went to visit Turkana. I met her there. And Selena tells me, met her for the first time in my life. I thought she was perhaps 60 or 70 years old. She tells me that, Beatrice, please bring food. I'm afraid that my grandchildren will also die. I've lost 3 sons. 3 sons have died within a year because of hunger. They are dead. They are not sick. Just collapse and die. So food is life to some communities where we are serving the Lord with food. That pack of food is more than just Manapak. That's the only encouragement I can leave with you guys here today. As much as I want to say more, but I want you to remember that it is not just about you giving time to go do the packing and bring groups to do the packing. That is great. But I want you to remember that it's beyond that. You can never measure that time you've just taken to go volunteer. You will never put quantity or quantify time to it because it is unmeasurable. You're changing lives and you're making an impact. So I want to say thank you for people who plant their seeds to this organization. Because for Maisha, if I was even to get 5 containers today, we will use it and we will change lives. That's why they say there's always room for one more. But that one more, it takes people like all of us in this room and the ones that could not come here to make it possible for one more. So today, if God is using you to play a part in Feed My Starving Children through donations, I want you to know that you're important in that puzzle. Mark and his team won't do it without you. But also, if Mark doesn't do it without you, literally we cannot do it without you. We need you to make it all work. You see how everybody plays their part? We need you. We need the volunteers. We need the staff. We need the packers. We need the people who are coming to drive that container to the sea. We need those people at the sea that brings it to the nation where we are. We need the people who are receiving it. Everybody is playing their part so that we can just impact that one life. And most of the time, that one life starts behind your backyard. So I want to thank you guys so much for what you guys do to this ministry. And Maisha is so blessed to be part of the family of Feed My Starving Children, because through this partnership, we are doing so much in other programs' needs than we were doing before, because we know Feed My Starving Children got our back in terms of food. That's just simple. We can focus in educating the kids, and we can focus in helping develop the community to be more sustainable. Because at Maisha, we don't believe in handouts. We believe in empowering them to transform their own communities. And you can't do that if they're weak and fragile. We have to nourish them first with food. That's why it starts with food. And you are the beginning of our transformation in the field. So welcome to the team. Amen?